Challenges and problems need beliefs that support them, and they also need habits, like how we show up. They need our focus and our energy. And how we look at any situation is up to us. And sometimes by just learning how to pause, slow down, it can really help in the process. But the first step is you got to program or reprogram your mind. So I want you to think about this for 1 minute. If you think of your computer, and let's just say you were missing a file. Anyone that's mentally sane is not going to think a file is going to be there if you haven't loaded it onto your computer. Well, your brain's the same way. So if we're missing a file, we got to load it on. Now, what about if you get a virus on your computer? Most people would understand that if you have a virus, you have to remove it. Same thing with our minds. Now, the difference is, instead of it being a file or a virus, it's a belief. So some files, beliefs, need to be replaced. Some need to be completely removed. And some just need to be uploaded. Hi, my name is Annette Bau, your host of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. I'm a certified financial planner and founder of the Millionaire Insider. For over 30 years, I have been advising and researching the top 1% of millionaires, and I am passionately obsessed with money, mindset, and the intersection of self-worth and net worth, and how the two connect and allow us to live fulfilled and wealthy lives on our terms. I'm a Midwestern girl who had a dream, began investing $25 a month 35 years ago, and today have a multi-million-dollar net worth. I teach the tried and true that only someone with over 3 decades of experience advising millionaires would know. This podcast is different, about much more than money. We talk about mindset, success, money blocks, worth barometer, and all aspects of money and topics from practical manifestation, along with real-world how-to and everything in between, with the goal of making your journey easier and more fun. Think of this as coffee, actually matcha tea, learning real-world common sense money and life advice from a BFF that you can start applying today. If you want to create a financially free life you love, you are in the right place, my friend. This is the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. If you would like to access the Reprogram Your Mind template so you can follow along and take notes, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/RMT, Reprogram Mind Template. So again, themillionaireinsider.com/RMT. But what I find, if you're like me, you like to take notes and really start applying the material. And this template is going to show you how. The information we provide is not intended to replace any investment, financial, tax, or any other advice. Before beginning, please consult with your own team of advisors and review your situation. For today's show notes, go to themillionaireinsider.com/4. For all episodes, go to themillionaireinsider.com/podcast. I love the insight from Bruce Lipton. He was a former faculty member at Stanford Medical Center. He said most people don't even acknowledge that their subconscious mind is at play, when the fact is it's a million times more powerful than the conscious mind. And we operate 95 to 99% of our lives from subconscious programs. The first thing we got to do, my friends, if we want different results, is we got to program our mind, and that requires that we understand both the brain and the mind. So let's look at the history of the brain. The brain is 2 million years old. Now, I refer to the primal brain as the limbic brain because it just works for me, but technically, most people will call it the primal brain. So just know that if I say the limbic brain, I'm referring to the primal brain. But there is a limbic system, and this is a complex system of nerves and networks in our brain. It involves several areas in our cortex concerning our instinct and our mood. So just be aware of that. But the primal brain controls basic emotions, fear, pleasure, anger, as well as drives, hunger, sex, as well as caring for our children. And the primal brain is there to protect us. It's that where the fight or flight resides. And interestingly, or not surprisingly, it runs the majority of people's lives. And it also wants instant gratification. And as you heard from Dr. Lipton, it controls so much of what we do. Experts refer to it as the toddler's brain. And you have to understand, it loves dopamine. It loves those rewards of serotonin and dopamine. So that's why, like, if you start eating junk food and a lot of sugar, a lot of just junk, your limbic brain is going to just draw you towards it. It wants more of it because it loves that hit you get. And it can even work when it comes to spending money. If you love going and buying that new purse and the feeling you get when you buy it, or those new boots, or even a Starbucks every day, a lot of those are governed by our limbic brain. We're not even really aware of it. But the thing we have to understand about our primal brain is that it's not designed for us to be happy. It's designed to help us survive and to keep us safe. So it doesn't want to change. The unknown to the limbic primal brain is scary, unpredictable, even dangerous. And this can be true even if our life isn't working. So if you have fear around money, maybe creating your spending plan or creating your financial plan, your limbic brain, your primal brain is keeping you stuck. And the secret to getting over that lies in your prefrontal cortex, which is your newer brain, and it is the one that will allow you to do it. Now, ideally, you want to have both working together. As I like to say, you got to get in the driver's seat of your life. That requires that you work with both your primal brain and your prefrontal cortex. So the prefrontal cortex is referred to as the adult brain as compared to the toddler brain, and it takes about 25 to 26 years for it to develop. The prefrontal cortex is more evolved, and humans are the only species that have that, which is really powerful. It allows us to plan, to delay gratification, and make decisions that are best for our future. It knows that we need to save money for retirement, but that primal brain is the one that wants that dopamine hit when you buy that latte, when you buy that purse, when you go on that trip. So you got to realize that the primal brain is going to help you to rationalize or justify the decision you're making, saying, oh, it doesn't really matter. Give me a break. You're going to be okay financially if you go buy that. And the problem is it's just like an addictive cycle. It just doesn't end. And that's the problem. It's not so much that you're saying yes to the latte. It's just that you're saying yes to the latte, yes to the purse, yes to the trip, yes to the new car. That's the problem. The best news, though, is that you can rewire your brain and replace hardwired neural pathways, habits. Because see, what happens is over time, you start developing these hardwired neural pathways where you don't even think about it and you do it. Like if you go and get a coffee every day, you don't think about the fact that you're spending $5 every time you go into your favorite coffee shop, but you're spending $5 and now it's just a habit. You automatically go there even if you're not thinking about it because your habitual brain, your limbic brain, your primal brain is just wired to do that. And even when it's not serving us, that's what we have to be aware of, is that so much of this we're not even aware of, we're not even conscious of, we just do it. All right, so we've talked about the conscious and the subconscious mind, and the conscious being the prefrontal cortex, the subconscious being more the primal brain. Now, this is what's really, really important, is that the conscious brain drives volition, willpower. But see, the primal brain is more habitual. That's why it's so much more powerful. Like experts say, it governs up to 98% of how we show up. So we've got to realize that we can have these great ideas in our prefrontal cortex, but if our limbic brain's not on board, rarely will it ever come to fruition. All right, so understanding your mind. Challenges and problems need beliefs that support them, and they also need habits, like how we show up. They need our focus and our energy. And how we look at any situation is up to us. And sometimes by just learning how to pause, slow down, it can really help in the process. But the first step is you got to program or reprogram your mind. So I want you to think about this for 1 minute. If you think of your computer, and let's just say you were missing a file. I mean, anyone that's mentally sane is not going to think a file is going to be there if you haven't loaded it onto your computer. Well, your brain's the same way. So if we're missing a file, we got to load it on. Now, what about if you get a virus on your computer? Most people would understand that if you have a virus, you have to remove it. Same thing with our minds. Now, the difference is, instead of it being a file or a virus, it's a belief. So some files, beliefs, need to be replaced. Some need to be completely removed, and some just need to be uploaded. And once you get that, and you can look at it more of like, oh, well, I get that, because most of us understand how a computer works, it's a lot easier to then make the changes we need to make to get the results we want. But this is why learning how to reprogram your mind is so important. Now, one of the most important things you can do, and if you didn't listen to episode 3 on the Worth Barometer, you can go back. It's themillionaireinsider.com/3. But in that episode, we talk a lot about slowing down your mind. And that's one of the most important skills you need to develop if you want to reprogram your mind. You want to create new neural pathways. It takes between 18 and 254 days to change a habit, on average 66 days. So we've got to get clear that it's going to take a couple months and you're likely going to fail. And just don't beat yourself up. Just get at it again and stay focused on what it is you want. Big picture. That's huge. Breathing can slow you down. That's very powerful, and it can help you to get in the driver's seat. When you slow down and quiet your mind, you're going to become more present, more conscious, and more focused. This is going to allow you to be in the moment, and it's going to allow you to be much more intentional on what you want to do and what you need to do. It's really important that you get adequate sleep, because by getting adequate sleep, you're going to be so much more focused and even slower in how you make decisions and much more methodical, and not just having just a spur of the moment rush from that limbic brain, but being able to really bring your prefrontal cortex into the decisions. Ideally, you want to have no stimulation 60 to 90 minutes before you go to bed, and that includes TV, news, phone, computer, books, or movies that stimulate your nervous system. Now, what you're going to find is if you are addicted to watching TV before you go to bed, your limbic brain is going to go, oh, it doesn't really matter. And I even see mine sometimes doing that. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Because see, it can just be hardwired into that. You've got to get in the habit and create new habits so that you don't fall into that pattern. Ideally, you're waking up without an alarm clock, which tells you you're getting adequate sleep. One of the best resources for understanding your subconscious mind is by Dr. Joseph Murphy. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/subconscious mind. That's SUBCONSCIOUSMIND. That book is godsend. He's done so much research on the subconscious mind. It's so powerful. So let's look at some of the things you can do to really help. Let's dive a little bit deeper into some of these things. So slowing down your mind. You've got to understand that thoughts come first, and then words come oftentimes, and then emotions, how we feel, and then actions, and then results. So slowing down requires that we become present and conscious. And I just encourage you to continue to monitor where you are. Practice that focused breathing exercise, breathing into the count of 8 through your nose, holding it for 8, and then releasing for 16. Identify when you're at your best, what gets you off track, and what you need to do to get back on track. Those things will really help you to quiet your mind so you can reprogram it. You got to master your ability to focus. Again, focused breathing is so powerful, and I will link to focused breathing in the show notes at themillionaireinsider.com/4. But the reason that our ability to focus is so important is that we have about 60 to 110,000 messages coming at us each day, and most are designed to get us distracted and to get us to do whatever that is wants us to do. And we've got to be clear and in our lane so we do what we need to do to get the results we want, not the results somebody else wants for themselves. All right? But this is so important when it comes to reprogramming your mind. One of the things you got to remember as you're working on programming your mind is that your subconscious mind is a direct reflection of your thoughts and affirmations. And one of the best questions you can do to just check in is what I'm thinking, saying, doing right now, bringing me closer to my desired goal. Now, obviously, you need to know what that goal is, but if it is, keep doing it. If not, then just pause. What action can I take right now? What thought can I think right now that is going to help me get to my desired destination? And then just change. It's that easy, and it is so powerful. When you slow down and quiet your mind, you become so much more present. This allows you to set your intention and tap into your intuition and inner guidance. You know, I'm very intuitive. I think most people are. I have telepathy. It used to freak me out. All it is quieting down so you can get in the driver's seat of your life. When you incorporate practices, focused breathing, yoga, silent meditation, guided meditation, all those things, you're going to become much more conscious and present, and you're going to become much more intuitive. It's amazing how it works. But what you want to do is you're going to start realizing as you start incorporating some of these practices into your life, when you don't do them or you miss them, you're going to feel like you didn't brush your teeth or like you're wearing one shoe. Like if I don't do Kundalini yoga and restorative yin yoga every morning and I don't meditate, my day is off. It's just fascinating how impactful it is. And I can feel I'm not as clear thinking. I mean, It impacts literally everything in my life. It's amazing. All right, begin with primary strategies. So I find the two best strategies are focused breathing or silent meditation. And we walked through it, but you can put your feet flat on the ground, put your hands either facing down on your upper thighs if you need more grounding, more focus, or face them up if you need more receiving and more energy. And then what you want to do is take a few deep abdominal breaths just on your own. Let it out through your mouth. And then you want to breathe in through your nose to the count of 8, hold it for 8, and then release for 16. So breathe in, hold it, release for 16. And then do a few of those. Do those in the morning, do those in the evening, do those after each power hour. We're going to dive into power hours, but after you've had 50 to 70 minutes of laser focus, you want to do a power break. And this is part of your power break. But once you master your primary strategies of either silent meditation or focused breathing or both, you can then add in secondary strategies, guided meditation, silent walks, prayer, yoga, chants. Decide. You've got to know what you want with crystal clear clarity. Most people know what they don't want, but they don't know what they do want. And that is just so devastating because your limbic brain, it wants to keep you stuck. And it wants to keep you focused in on what's easy, what conserves calories, not ideal. So we've got to remember that if we want to get really clear, we got to know what we want from our prefrontal cortex, and then we've got to get our subconscious mind on board, or we'll never get it. In the book, 7 Principles of Becoming a Fulfilled and Wealthy Millionaire, at the end of chapter 1, there's a section called Releasing Mental Blocks and Core Beliefs. You can write out the question with your dominant hand, what do I want in my life more than anything else? And then with your non-dominant hand, answer the question. It's going to take you about 10 to 20 minutes, but what you're going to find is you're going to start getting hits. And all of a sudden, either you're going to get another question or you're going to get the answer. That is one of the most effective strategies to really determine what you want. So one of the keys as far as programming your mind is, again, we've got to program that subconscious mind. Now, in the Money Mindset Mastery program, we dive into 5 different strategies. But what I want to focus in on today is one of the most important ones that you can start applying today. You want to be programming what it is that you want into your subconscious mind. And if, let's say, for instance, if you don't think you're enough or you think it's impossible to earn the money you want, what I want you to do is I want you to start affirming your goal right when you wake up and then right before you go to bed, when your brain is in the theta or alpha state. So when you're in the theta state, when you're still in that light sleep, or the alpha state where you're still awake but you're going into sleep, that is the time where your subconscious mind is the most open. And so what you can do is you can just state, I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Or I earn how much money in year with ease. Anytime you have a goal that makes you nervous or could even push you below the grid, I encourage you to start affirming it right when you wake up or right when you're going to bed. That is such a powerful time. All right, tips to help you program your mind. And there's a lot of them, but one of the most important things is quieting down your mind, eating a real healthy diet, drinking plenty of water, 50% of your body weight in ounces, getting exercise, focused breathing. All of those things are so powerful because all of them work to help you get clear. You also want to be setting your goals where you're stating them, I am or I active verb. So I earn how much money in year, state the year with ease. Or I weigh 125 pounds with ease, or 130 pounds with ease, or 150 pounds. It doesn't matter. But what you got to be clear on is what it is you want and then state it in I am or I active verb. We'll dive into the power of 7 in a later episode, but it's also another great technique for programming your mind. And this is where you write out your goal, you read it, you listen to it, you affirm it, and you visualize it. So again, just be open to different strategies and you'll be amazed at what happens. All of a sudden, like I look back and I think, gosh, some of the beliefs I had that I no longer have, I've replaced, I've gotten new files in that brain, have been so powerful. And I think that's a large part of why I hit my net worth goal in 2021, a goal that I thought I would never hit. If I hit it, I'd have to be 100. And it just goes to show the power of what happens when We get quiet, we get really clear, and then we do the work to make it a reality. And my friends, it can happen to anyone. You just have to want to do it. And what's really good about programming your mind is that some of those beliefs we have about money is hard, money's not my thing, my partner handles that, I'm not good with numbers. I mean, all those things that are like, really? Those are all things that we can really reprogram and replace so that we have beliefs and neural pathways that are supporting us versus ones that are really hurting us, that are keeping us from our desired goal. And then visualize it. I share how I visualize both of my second and third home. I saw it when I walked into our condo overlooking the ocean. I just stood there and everyone was like looking at me like, what's going on? I'm like, oh my gosh. I just looked at my husband. I'm like, this is it. It was literally everything I had visualized. It was so bizarre. I mean, everything. Unbelievable what happens when you get really clear in your mind's eye and really focused. And even where we're building our new primary residence up on a mountain overlooking Phoenix. In fact, what was so fascinating is all I wanted to do was be able to see a mountain. And I kept going, I don't know what's going to happen because every place there's a mountain in Phoenix, there are hikers behind you. And I'm like, can't have hikers. I had all these requirements. And all I was saying is I just wanted a mountain. Well, I'm literally going to have panoramic views of every mountain in the entire Phoenix area. Like, who would have ever thought that? And I remember thinking, I wonder if I've lost my mojo because I wasn't attracting it. We kept looking at places. I'm like, oh, what are we going to do? And then we found it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. And it's just amazing what happens. But first of all, getting really clear in your mind and then being open to possibilities. Like I would have never said, oh, I want to have an entire panoramic view of every mountain range in Phoenix. My primitive brain would have said, there's no way you can afford that. There's, all these things would have come up. But oh my gosh, it's amazing what happens when we get clear on that. Congratulations on taking another step to create a financially free life you love. If you're not sure about your financial future or that it's in order, or you are ready to stop worrying about money or possibly the fear of becoming a bag lady, ending up broke in retirement, or you simply are ready to know your financial house is in order so that you can have a bright financial future, please go to themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. And that doesn't stand for non-sufficient funds. It stands for next step finance. It's the next best step of what you need to do so you can avoid an NSF notice in your future. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. The number of women who were not broke or poor while working or married is staggering. The entire mission of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast is to ensure you have the information for you, your family, your friends, anyone who's willing to listen to it and apply it so that you can create a financially free life you love. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. If you love the content of this podcast, please follow and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of episodes, and also give us a 5-star review and share a comment. We really appreciate it. For today's episode, go to themillionaireinsider.com/4. For all episodes, go to themillionaireinsider.com/podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Wasn't that easy? I mean, you just got to start doing it. Just start where you are. Do what you can, and before you know it, you'll see yourself making progress. Once you download the guide at themillionaireinsider.com/RMT, you'll be able to start creating your own roadmap. And what you'll find is that some of the areas you're getting hung up on will be different than maybe I am and somebody else. But the best news of all is you just start where you are. And the most important thing isn't that you perfect it, it's that you just keep moving forward. Because even if you apply a fraction of what I teach you and you get a fraction of the results, you're going to be so much further ahead than you would be if you don't do anything. So I look so forward to seeing you on our next episode where we dive into how I became a millionaire. And you can learn some real insight on just how I think. One of the most common questions I get, people are like, I just would love to get inside your brain and see how you think. I'm like, that seems like really boring, like being inside my brain. I've had so many people say that to me. But I think it's just because I have studied so much of this, and I'm so fascinated by how people's brain works, by what people think and the results they get, that, it fascinates people. So anyway, in episode 5, you're going to learn that. So again, themillionaireinsider.com/5. I'll look so forward to seeing you on the episode. Bye for now. Until our next episode, take one action that will help you create a financially free life you love. I'm Annette Bau, your host. All international copyrights are reserved. Bye for now.